Big dogs, as you guys know, this channel can make some controversial takes from here and there. But this one, I don't even think it's that controversial, if I'm being honest. I think that side decks are ruining the Yu-Gi-Oh card game. In today's video, we're going to be discussing the benefits and all of the drawbacks to side decks and asking the really important question. Are side decks even necessary? Let's go ahead and jump on in. Instead of being cards to help shore up your weakness or alter what your opponent's doing, Yu-Gi-Oh players have in favor went for cards that completely win them the game. And I can't really blame them. Throughout Konami's 10,000 Yu-Gi-Oh cards, there are certain cards that just outright counter the best decks in the room. Like, for example, just recently on the ban list, we've had cards like Dimensional Barrier, which can stop synchros, fusions, rituals, pendulums, and of course Exceeds. This card is outright a card that just says, I win the game against a Yu-Gi-Oh strategy that's reliant on one of those mechanics. The inherent problem with the side deck is that Yu-Gi-Oh players are playing instant win buttons, cards that allow them to play less Yu-Gi-Oh by playing these Yu-Gi-Oh cards, essentially turning Yu-Gi-Oh from what it should be, an interactive card game, to a non-game. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of these cards on the previous ban list are at least 10 years old, and the next thing is that Konami will continue to make cards like this. Not out of spite or anything, but simply because they make so many cards every year, it's bound to be a hard counter to a particular strategy. Keep in mind, Fossil Dino Pachycephalo only became busted when Gallant Granite became searchable and Mitsurugi didn't need its normal summon. Dimensional Barrier became especially powerful with cards like Triple Tactics Thrust entering the fray. So eventually, with these Floodgate Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Konami will produce a strategy that can take full advantage of them. Hopefully you guys are starting to see what I'm saying. It's a reason why year in and year out, there's always some new card, some new FTK, some new siding pattern to completely dominate your opponent and prevent them from playing Yu-Gi-Oh. And it's one of the reasons why the side deck just has to go. Another reason why I think we should get rid of side decks is so we can get more Raven Wing sleeves. I know it sounds counterproductive right now. A guy like me telling you guys to get rid of the side deck, which would in theory mean that you have to buy less sleeves. But that just goes to show how amazing Raven Wing is. This in fact is not only the #1 sleeve in the United States of America, it's the #1 sleeve
in the universe.
Go ahead and go to TheCaliEffect.com and purchase your sleeves today. Mrs. Brown might even have a Black Friday sale for you guys, so stay sexy. Now, some of you guys are probably wondering, how will Yu-Gi-Oh be able to operate? How will decks be able to counter their natural weaknesses? Well, I think we can actually go to look at some of the other popular card games that don't have a side deck and have the similar scenario. When it comes to this particular scenario, I think Pokemon is a pretty good thing to look to. While it's not perfect, Pokemon is best 2 out of 3 with no side deck. And like I always say, there's no such thing as introducing a solution without making problems. Sometimes in Pokemon, you do go against your counter and you lose. But in actuality, that would be no different than your opponent siding the perfect counter card against you and you losing. In fact, unlike in Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh deck building would require even more skill. Hear me out, Pokemon players, do not shoot me. I got an Alakazam deck, so like, you know, I'm actually playing, okay? Card games like Pokemon actually has one huge advantage over Yu-Gi-Oh that Yu-Gi-Oh can't exploit when we get rid of the side deck: consistency. Pokemon is an ultra consistent game with multiple cards allowing you to be able to draw as many cards as you want and search all of the cards that you need, and even a mulligan system. Yu-Gi-Oh does not have that, which brings me to my second point. The side deck doesn't promote healthy deck building. Sure, again, in the side deck, you can play those perfect counter cards to be able to beat your opponent. But one thing that the side deck takes away from those perfect counter cards is the risk of playing them. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the cards on the ban list. Cards like Rairu of the Warlords, Gozen Match, and even Skill Drain. These cards are terribly powerful when going first, but absolutely suck ass when going second. As a Yu-Gi-Oh player, one thing that you're always looking for is versatility. And then there's always risk versus reward. Do these subset of cards allow you to be able to play the game as optimally as possible? What are the risks and benefits of playing certain cards? When you take away the side deck, it makes deck building so much harder. Because not only do you have to worry about your particular strategy being consistent, you also have to weigh the risk and rewards of playing certain Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Now guys, I am not 100% on the Master Duel train, but I think Master Duel is a perfect example. In Master Duel, cards like Molchumi Meows and Molchumi Perilia pretty much aren't played. And this is simply because the risk does not outweigh the reward. Between playing the Molchummy, Meowls, and Perulia inside of your main deck, you also have to consider playing Molchummy Flawless. Then there's the other cards inside of your deck that you need to be able to function when you go first. Because keep in mind, if you're playing all of these Molchummy cards, your ability to go first is going to be severely compromised. As you guys can see, having no side deck can actually impact deck building even when it's not floodgates, forcing players to gain certain advantages or disadvantages when they incorporate certain cards inside of their deck is a skill that should be exploited in Yu-Gi-Oh! And unlike Master Duel, it should still be best of 3 or possibly even best of 2. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Something that allows players to have more urgency in the cards that they play and be more satisfied when those particular cards pay off. It also can give you hard metadata on what cards are genuinely problematic. Without a side deck, certain cards like Artifact Lancia may be really powerful at a point in time, but once decks like Malice start to fall off, you start to realize how useless the card is. It also gives the potential for Konami to make Yu-Gi-Oh! Strategies that are easily hard countered, letting the community decide between playing certain cards which could be really good against certain strategies and worse against the others, could also allow you be the determining factor on which cards should be hit. It's actually a domino effect when you make Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards way more stagnant, and allows you to be able to focus on the actual problems in the game. This also brings me to one of my last points. The side deck is dice rolly at best. You remember when I said with no side deck it takes decision making? Well, with the side deck, it does the inverse. Knowing that when I lose particular game 1, I can play all of the cards that allow me to be able to be stronger when going first, or when I win a game to play the cards that allow me to be stronger when going second, takes a lot of guesswork and makes Yu-Gi-Oh! Strategies or matches one-sided. In actuality, even with the Molchummy cards, it still makes going first way stronger. The ability to have potentials to be able to set up certain cards to completely shut your opponent down from ever playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Would be auto win. And for a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Matches, I know some that you've experienced as well as me, means that the initial dice roll meant so much more than the actual game. There really needs to be a mathematical study about this, because I would say it'd be closer towards 60% if a player won a dice roll and they won game 1, that they're more than likely winning the entire match. I think whether you're pro or con side deck, anyone that has played enough Yu-Gi-Oh! Knows exactly what I'm talking about and the exact feeling. But the fourth reason on why side decks are completely unnecessary is a little bit of a personal favorite. I don't know about y'all, but I'm not attracted to Yu-Gi-Oh! Players. Me, I'm just trying to kick it with the boys or talk to fine shit. You know what I mean? So if I can go and have an event and then finish the event to move on to the next part of my life, I'm happy. And I don't want to say I'm singling you guys out. The same thing can be said for football. It can be said for weightlifting and just about everything I do in my life. But side decking does take up time. In a Yu-Gi-Oh! Event, you guys are allotted 3 minutes per game 1 and game 2. Now, I will admit, because of the new time rules, in 45 minutes, you're out, you're out. But hypothetically, if we took out 6 minutes of every round, imagine how much more efficient Yu-Gi-Oh! Could be. A 4-round tournament, which takes roughly about 3 hours and 25-esque minutes, could potentially take 3 hours or less with side decking completely removed and players more efficiently getting into their game. And big dogs, I don't know exactly how you feel, but me personally, if a local tournament goes longer than a football game, we got a problem. And as you guys already know, I never come with problems without breathing a solution. My solution for this side deck epidemic is multiple decks. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has always been about playing as many decks as possible. Imagine if you go to a Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament and you play 3 different decks. One deck is your main deck, and then after that game, you swap into another deck. Now, to prevent players from making an entire deck for an all going first situation or all going second situation, every single game is decided by a dice roll. That means if I lose game 1, I don't have any control on what happens in game 2. Obviously, off the top, there's a couple of problems with this. The first is that you can have a situation where somebody wins dice rolls all 3 times and they get to go first all 3 times. But seeing that they would never know if they're going first or second, their deck always has to be honest. And mathematically, that's not possible for you to consistently lose dice rolls every single round, unless you're me against TJ, apparently. The next thing is about having cards in order to build multiple decks. But let's face it, guys, most Yu-Gi-Oh players have multiple different decks. The only real problem in this particular scenario is the price of certain cards. I talked about this on stream, and I think that this probably deserves a whole nother video, but in order to combat this, Konami would just keep cards cheap, kind of like what some of the other TCGs do, having a rarity like set consistently to make sure cards are affordable for everybody. And then of course there's the stamped and the full art and the border cards that they're coming out with to be able to rub their greasy little hands on somebody's wallet. My next solution is to make Yu-Gi-Oh best of 2. No matter what, we play 2 games. If you win both games, that is 5 points. If you win 1 game, that is 2 points. You win the dice roll, congratulations, you're going first. Next game, you're always going second. It doesn't matter. This is actually something that I got from Lorcana and I thought was really interesting, and is also could be an entirely different video. Regardless though, I want to hear what you guys think about Yu-Gi-Oh being played these different ways. I don't actually just talk the talk, you know your boy walk the walk. My group of guys have actually been playing under these rules and it's been a complete blast. Yu-Gi-Oh could in fact be great again, and I may have just leaked what's going to happen in our next vlog. Again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. It has been really fun to talk about the problems with side decks. Of course, whether you guys agree, disagree, or have any other points that you want to say, let me know down below in the comment section. And also, if you want to see more amazing content like this, be sure to check out these videos so I can catch you on the next one.